This demonstration will show you how the use of SmartSCAN Invoice Processor looks like the first day you go live with the system. The system is self-learning, so there is difference in day 1 and, as an example, just the second day of using SmartSCAN. So let's say this is Monday, day 1 with SmartSCAN, the day of going live. In this first part of the demo, I'll act as the vendor sending 9 invoices using my email client. I've already prepared this email and will now send it to the buyer every so I can get paid for the items and services I have sold them. The invoices are in the PDF format, and we can just take a look at one of them before I actually send it. This is the one for Pro Shop. It has invoice number, total amount, pretty standard invoice, and is for every. So now I'll send it by pressing the send button, and the invoice is out and away to every. In this second part of the demo, I will act as a bookkeeper employed in the Danish accounting department at every. After opening my SmartSCAN application, I'll see that there are multiple inboxes for invoices, one for each accounting department that are situated around the world. They could have been hidden from me, but we have agreed in the project group during the project that we do not have anything to hide from each other. Also, I see that there are inboxes for HR documents and real estate documents, which will actually also be processed using this application. I'll now start my day by focusing on invoices for Denmark. So I'll navigate to that inbox. Currently the inbox is empty, but just in a second or two you'll actually see that the 9 invoices that I sent to every while acting as the vendor will automatically be received by the system and will also automatically be processed. The only thing that I as a user need to do is to open up the first document for what is called verification. Verification means that I should verify the values that the system has found during document processing. What is relevant information for an invoice for every was decided during the project. This actually means that the system is flexible with regards to the information that should be obtained for a specific document type, for example an invoice. Now I'll start the verification of the actual invoices. I'll start with this one on the top, which is for the buyer every and for the vendor Dustin. I will open it up, and here on the left side of the screen I'll see an image of the actual invoice. On the right side of the screen I'll see the fields that I'm supposed to find in order to create an invoice in SAP. And here in the top part of the right side I'll see the identifiers. I need to identify the buyer and the vendor in order to know to which account I need to pay to. So let's start by focusing on how the buyer was found. If we zoom in a little, we can actually see that here in the top part of the document it was found that every is the buyer. In SmartSCAN there has been made a connection between every and the company code 1000 that was then used for looking up the buyer inside SAP. One buyer existed for that company code, and that had the value, the name, every AS. So this is how the buyer was identified. Well, we also needed to identify the vendor. Again, during the processing of the document, called interpretation actually, it was found that the CVR number, which is the Danish VAT number, was this number. So then SmartSCAN asked SAP, well, can you find a vendor with this VAT number? And SAP returned this exact vendor. There was only one. That was then used. Also, some additional information about the vendor was obtained from SAP in order to make it more easy for me as a user to see if it's the proper vendor that was found. The next thing I now need to do is simply to verify that the different values found is truly the correct ones. So I hit my enter button and see that the phone number was also found for the vendor, so that has also been used in the search for the vendor. I see that it has been found that it's an invoice, not a credit note. Faktura is the Danish word for invoice. The next thing I see is that it has found an invoice number, and it's the correct one. It was found over here. There are no purchase order on the document. That seems correct. At least there's not a purchase order that is an SAP purchase order number. The invoice date was found. The total amount was found. The VAT amount was found. And the GIRA string was also found. So all there is left to do now is simply to send this invoice to SAP so it gets parked. And after pressing the OK button, I can now see a success message from SAP stating that the document is now truly parked. Press the OK button, and here I am, on to the next document. Now let me send this document to SAP as well. It will be parked, and I'll move off to the next one. This document will also be interpreted with the pattern that was created based on the first document I verified. I'll also send this one to SAP. Now when I park this third document for the vendor, I actually get this pop-up in the SmartSCAN that asks me if I don't want to activate what we call auto send, also named auto verify in daily usage, for this pattern that was created for Dustin. Auto send means that the document will from now on and future, if everything is correctly found and if all the validations that goes on inside SAP is validated correctly, in that situation the document will automatically be sent. I think that's okay, because for the last, in this situation, 2 documents have been recognized completely and nothing was actually wrongly found. So I'll simply press yes. I'll move on to the next document from ProShop. This is a little different compared to the first document from Dustin that we saw, because here for the invoice number actually 2 values has been found. It had found this invoice number, and also it could think that this date that we see furthest to the right could be the invoice number. It thinks that this is more likely to be the correct value, and because of that it has stated as the first one, and I'll simply select yes for that. The VAT amount, well, again 2 values have been found, but it thinks that this is the value that I need, and it's correct. It's the same for GIRA string. It has found 2 different values because it has used 2 different titles. This is the correct one to use, I think, as a user, so I'll simply press enter. Now I'll also send this document to SAP, and now when the next document from ProShop is opened, we'll actually see that because of the changes I did during the verification and because a pattern was created, now I don't need to do anything. The reinterpretation has actually interpreted the document fully. Everything has been found, and the only thing I need to do is simply to send the document. So I'll send it. That one is also parked, and now I'll send the third document from ProShop, like that. Now it's the same situation again. SmartSCAN thinks it will be a good idea to activate the auto send for this pattern for ProShop. I think so too, so I'll simply press yes and load the next document. Now, while verifying these last documents from Red Office, I just want to tell about the different ways of obtaining the values from a document. Until now you have only seen situations where the values, the possible values, have already been found. It might be that there were no possible value for a specific field, and in that situation, instead of me having to type the value manually using my keyboard, I can simply just select it by pressing on the value itself on the image of the invoice. Here I want to automatically send the documents in the future, so I press yes. Now, the day after go live, I'm back here acting as the vendor. It is Tuesday and I would like to send 9 new invoices to Every for payment. These invoices are for the same 3 vendors as yesterday, so I'll send them. So here again I'm back acting as the bookkeeper, because I yesterday decided that all documents from all 3 different vendors should automatically go to SAP. We should actually see that all invoices that I just sent, acting as the supplier, should actually go automatically to SAP. So what you just saw now was that the 9 documents that I sent an email was automatically uploaded to the system. And just now, as I was speaking, they are already being transferred to SAP. We see no documents for verification. All documents are automatically being processed and parked. This was only the second day of using SmartSCAN, and during the next month the system will learn how most of the vendor invoices layouts look like. The results seen at multiple companies that are using SmartSCAN is after 1 month already plus 50% of invoices is being handled 100% automatically. And this number keeps growing and can easily grow towards 90% or even more. This saves your financial department or service center from a lot of time, freeing resources for more valuable, non-trivial work. And the name of the most modern, time-saving and user-friendly invoice processing application on the market is SmartSCAN Invoice Processor for SAP.